There isn't a single person on this planet that hasn't been made to feel small about reality. But the issue is, if you don't have the capability of knowing how to transmute that feeling of being small, you will forever be submitting to people, conditions, circumstances, and events. Whether that's other people that have the capability of being giants over you while you feel small, whether that's adversity being a giant over you while you feel small, or your old frequency being a giant over you while you feel small. There isn't a single human on this planet that hasn't felt small at one particular moment in time. We go through particular degrees of adversity. We encounter people that may have the capability of triggering us internally. We feel victims to the old frequency that we're seeking to escape. And because of that, we continue to be small. But like I said, if you don't have the capability of transcending being small and transmuting that into being big on the pathway to creating your desired reality, because let's be real, spirituality without the ability to create your reality is nothing but vanity. And if you don't have the capability of knowing how to navigate that, then anytime that you feel small, you will be under people, conditions, and circumstances. As you can see, right? This guy is bigger than that guy, that's you. This is others, adversity, and old frequency. Kind of looks like a Titan. You know what I'm saying? If you know about Attack on Titan, he looks like a Titan. That's kind of what I was going for. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I'll be honest. I do not know what's going on.
I need to know now. These guys were complimenting me on the live stream comments. AJ is pretty.
They're saying what?
AJ is pretty.
He's very pretty.
We see you, AJ. Pretty boys, both of y'all.
I wouldn't say I'm a pretty boy, to be honest. Handsome, maybe. Pretty, no, that's AJ.
Huh.
Rising from the ground, there's nothing I can do. I need to know now, can you love me again?
You see, when I hear songs like that, I just think some people are really talented.
Me too.
How did you put all of that together?
I see this life like a swinging vine, swing my heart across the line. That's another 10 out of 10 song. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. Now, like I said, on the pathway to creating your desired reality, there's going to be instances where you encounter obstacles, whether that may be people that have the capability of throwing you off your frequency. Some fuckeries happen that throws you off your frequency. The old frequency within you, you begin to throw yourself off your own frequency by being a prisoner to the old aspect of you. If you don't know how to navigate that when it comes up, you will forever continue to be in the same position. So as always, make sure you take notes, leave them in the comments as usual, because I am about to diagnose every single human being on this planet. Now, I am not a doctor, and nigga has no degrees in medicine. I do have a degree in computer science, but I'm going to diagnose us all with one particular thing. One thing that every human being deals with. Everyone. And because everybody goes through this experience, people don't really navigate this experience in a manner that actually positions them to move towards their desired reality. Because the truth of the matter is, you could be doing all of this shit. You could be reading the books. You could be watching some random nigga on YouTube. You could be meditating. You could be visualizing. You could be doing your affirmations. Could be doing all the things that you believe you need to do in order to get to your desired reality. But if you don't have the capability of outsmarting reality, then you will forever be behind reality. Now, like I said, we all have an inferiority complex. I'm not sure if I spelled that right, but nonetheless, the point is still conveyed. Every human being deals with an inferiority complex. Now, probably the moment I begin to say that, you're like, me? Inferior? I don't see myself to inferior as no one. That's the natural feeling. But like I said, you have to begin to understand the metaphysics of what an inferiority complex represents and how it's actually an inferiority complex within. If there is inferiority within, then everything around you will be superior, and that's a bar that down. And that's what it feels like sometimes. Sometimes it feels like we go through these experiences where we have things that we need to do that they feel bigger than us. We have people in our lives that feel bigger than us. The old version of ourselves feels bigger than us. And it's because whether you are aware of this or not, you have an inferiority complex on a metaphysical level. Now, there's one particular scripture that I want to be the foundation of this particular video. Now, you niggas know that I'm not religious in any way, but I'm also not ignorant of the esoteric wisdom that lays within religious text. Hence why I've read the Bible. I have the Bhagavad Gita, I have the Quran, I have the missing gospels from the Bible, I have the Nag Hammadi text, the Apocrypha, so on and so forth, the Tao Te Ching, the Talmud. And I read all of these things for the mere fact that there's esoteric wisdom that exists within all of this. Now, esoteric simply comes from the Greek word esoterikos, which means the inner circle, and exoterikos means the outer, and that's typically what most of us are used to when we go to church and institutionalized religion. But in this particular scripture, this scripture is the foundation of this entire video because esoterically, it gives an understanding into one particular thing. And that is how your perception is directly equated to your projection. And that's what borrowed that down, but I'll get into that eventually throughout the video. But to first diagnose the inferiority complex, it's simple. To be inferior simply means this. Now, like I said, at first glance, when I say you have an inferiority complex, or we all have an inferiority complex, the mind begins to say, no, I don't. Because it sounds like this extra, it sounds like this, you know, what's that word? What's that word? Not an exaggeration. Is it exaggeration? Whatever. It sounds like this extremely clinical term when somebody says you have an inferiority complex, but metaphysically, I need you to understand that an inferiority complex is simply this: to be less within in comparison to everything outside of you. That is quite simply it. And the unfortunate thing about an inferiority complex is that through any given moment in reality, we feel less than the experiences that face us. We feel less than the adversity that faces us. We feel less than the people around us. And we all feel this. And because we all feel this, we are all unconsciously externalizing a particular reality where we stay less than. Because like I said, inferiority means to be less than within in comparison to everything outside of you. So everything outside of you is unfortunately more than everything inside of you, which is paradoxical. Now, the unfortunate thing about an inferiority complex is that on the basis of feeling less than within, your self-worth takes a hit. And then the motion of self-rejection begins to come in. And unfortunately, your self-worth is the ceiling of anything that you can seek to materialize in reality. But if you feel inferior to everything outside of you, then how could you possibly materialize reality in a way that you would like to? And that's what borrowed that down. Really think about that. If you inherently, unconsciously, bear in mind, on a subconscious level, feel as if that the things that you desire, you are less than, then you'll forever be underneath them. Because anytime that we feel less than anything in reality, you are not its equal. And you can't materialize anything unless you're the equal of it. And this goes to my definition of manifestation. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing that reality change. And we all deal with inferiority complexes, mind you, especially when I work with professional athletes. I work with footballers, and every time that they have a game, we always talk about the other team. And the collective consciousness always associates some people to be superior than others. And if you inherit that particular collective belief, then internally you make those people superior to you. And then when it comes to time, those people are superior to you. But we feel like this throughout all aspects of life. You may feel as if people in the quote unquote dating market are bigger than you. You may think that girl is out your league. You may think that nigga might be out your league. You may think that job is out your league. You might feel as if a job is out your league. You may feel as if a certain amount of money is out your league. That's just a fancy way of saying inferiority. But because we don't define it like that, we're unaware of it. And because we're unaware of it, we don't have the capability of changing it. Because awareness is the first step to transformation throughout all aspects of life. That's a bar, write that down. You can't change something you're not aware of because you don't even realize that you're in a car that is moving. And here's the thing. Like I said, the moment that you're less than anything in reality, the moment you're less than, you're underneath it. And because you're underneath it, you don't have the capability of attaining it. The only time you will ever be able to possess anything in reality is if you become the vibrational equivalent, the mental emotional equivalent, when you have a resonant frequency, when you have the equated state of consciousness, when you have the one-to-one mental attitude of that particular condition of reality, is the only time you will ever be able to possess that reality. But more often than not, because we're unaware of the fact that we feel less than within, we don't actually realize that even though we're trying to attain something, we're trying to attain something that is underneath as opposed to something we're on the same level on. And you really have to begin to understand, because like I said, the moment that your self-worth takes a hit in reflection of the inferiority complex, the ceiling of what you can attain in reality is low. The issue is a lot of you niggas don't have the self-worth required to materialize the desires that you want. And this extrapolates to all of us. We all may want a certain amount of money. We may want a promotion in our career. We may want a job. We may want a person. But if you don't feel as if you're even deserving of that particular thing based upon the inferiority complex, which is an unconscious mechanism to which you are lowering yourself internally, making yourself less than, placing yourself underneath, and the only way that you can materialize something is if you become the vibrational equivalent of that thing, then how the fuck could you possess that thing? But that's the thing about an inferiority complex. It's also a form of self-rejection. But worse than self-rejection, it is separation. Now I'm going to build upon this as we go throughout. But like I told you, this is real. And the funny thing is, through all the books that I've read in the sphere of manifestation, I've read hundreds of books. I never see anybody talk about this particular degree of the inferiority complex. Now, to go back to this scripture, like I said, is going to be the foundation of everything that we build upon. This scripture simply says, there were giants. And in our sight, we were grasshoppers. And so we were in their sight. Remember that, because we're going to come back to that and build upon that as we go throughout the video. But like I said, the inferiority complex hits everyone. Working with professional athletes, sometimes they feel inferior to other teams, other players. Working with 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs, sometimes they feel inferior to the next level to which they want to take their business, or in a particular upcoming meeting. Working with actors, sometimes they feel inferior of a certain role. This strikes all of us on an unconscious level. But if you're unaware of the fact that you feel inferior, then you don't have the capability of transmuting yourself into being superior. And that's what we're going to be talking about as we continue on.
You know, someone said your drawings are getting better and better.
Nicasso, I told you. Nicasso. I know you feel love, feel shame, feel pride. I can see it in your eyes. I'm not a fan at work. Who told me this is job on the side? As if I'm unimpressed by his everyday life. Niggas die every day, be that's everyday life. The woman that you idolize can never play wife to me. But you done as many flights as me, long nights as me, took as many left turns to make right as me. I'm in the middle of a veil like a bride to be. That's why I like to. I can't wait for days out.
I can't wait either. I'm itching.
I can't like. It's crazy.
Itching.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Someone said, bought for me and 3 of my friends who didn't know you.
I'm assuming they're talking about outsmarting reality. Amazon bestseller for 20 weeks straight.
Must be the book. They didn't start with that though, but okay. Life-changing for them and of course me. This is only the beginning for you. You have no idea what's in store, and it will be very grand in the next 50 years. This isn't something small. The greats can't even touch a quarter of what you put out there. Never lose your wonderful friendship with AJ. You two are a mastermind that can't be bought nor broken. I'm excited to watch your lives unfold.
Thank you very much. That's very nice. You know, people often always ask, how did you two meet? They always ask. They always say, how did you two meet? And this is the story that I always tell. AJ was working with somebody else at the time that he helped blow up on social media. The guy literally blew up overnight. That guy then left AJ to do it by himself. Left AJ because he's like, he got the clout now, so he'll do it by himself. And I saw this nigga and I said, listen, you work with me, we'll go together at the top. And that's been us since. That's literally been us since.
Bro saw his chance and took it.
Real talk. And since then, like I said, I ain't never had nobody show me all the things that she would show me in a special way. I feel like I would really he did get some. And I believe it, cause I ain't never had nobody that be like you. Okay. I've used purple. I use green and orange. So, like I said, there's three main areas to which people feel a particular degree of inferiority towards. And that is to others. You feel inferior to others. You feel inferior to adversity or circumstances. Let me just... And then also the old frequency, which is nothing more than a representation of the negative aspect of yourself. So let's start with the first one. You feel inferior to others. And this is kind of like a uncomfortable thing to even say. It's an uncomfortable realization to come to, the idea that we can be feeling inferior to others. It is. Bear in mind, one thing that I forgot to mention about the inferiority complex is that it's an illusion. And I'll be explaining further why in the video it's an illusion. But just remember, it's an illusion. Now, here's the thing. Let's start with others. There may be people in your life, and this could be extrapolated to co-workers, it could be potential employers, it could be potential clients, prospects, potential dating partners, this could be family. There are individuals that exist within your reality that have the capability of making you feel inferior. And here's what you have to begin to understand. Like I said, this could be prospects, clients, co-workers, employers, potential dating prospects, and family. And bear in mind, just remember, inferior just means nothing more than less than. These individuals have the capability of making you feel less than. And you have to come to a realization of one thing in particular. Now, we all go through these experiences where it could be our family, let's say negative people in our family that have the capability of making us feel less than based upon the things that they say to us. Now, I actually have a video on how to stop letting people affect your frequency. So I'll get AJ to put that up on the screen. Make sure you go watch that. But it could be people that are being negative. It could be co-workers, individuals that simply have the capability of making you feel less than. Making you feel less than. And this could be them triggering a particular degree of negative thoughts. It could be them triggering internal degrees of conflict where you have things that you wish you would say to them, but you don't say to them. And the truth of the matter that you need to realize, whether it's clients, whether it's prospects, whether it's co-workers, whether it's employers, whether it's potential dating people, whether it's family, anybody that can make you feel less than is simply nothing more than you. And this is the first realization when it comes to breaking the inferiority complex. You see, the illusion of the inferiority complex is that it places you in a particular condition of a low level of awareness. When I say a low level of awareness, I mean you're not seeing clearly. You see a separate individual. You see, yeah, this person's gonna be interviewing me for a job. Cool, I wanna DM this baddie. Cool, I gotta go home and deal with my mom again, or I gotta deal with my dad again, or I gotta deal with my siblings again, or whatever. You're seeing these individuals as separate to you. And because you're seeing these individuals as separate to you, you're not taking into consideration that they are you. Because the truth of the matter is this. The power that these individuals have over you is nothing more than the power that you have over yourself. And that's a bar, write that down. None of these individuals are powerful. You're so powerful that you make yourself powerless. And that's a bar, write that down. And the reason why I say that is this. You have the unfortunate, what's the word? You're making the unfortunate mistake of seeing these individuals as separate to you. So you're then saying that person makes me feel less than, as opposed to saying, I'm making myself feel less than by allowing this particular individual to have power over me. Now, all true power is internal. All true power is internal. It's often said it's not the snake bite that kills you, it's the poison that kills you. And this can be extrapolated to the nature of reality. It's not necessarily what people do to you that makes you less than. It's what you begin to do to yourself within after what they do to you. For example, let's say in the context where, I don't know, shit. Let's say your co-worker's like, yeah, I don't even know what they say. Well, let's say they just say something horrible. Let's just say somebody says something horrible to you. The moment somebody does something to you, the external has now the opportunity to affect the internal. And that is all dependent upon you and your particular realization of this. Let's say a coworker says something horrible to you or does something horrible to you. What do you then begin to do to yourself after that moment passes? You probably replay the event in your head. You probably beef with them in your head. You probably say what you really wanted to say in your head. You begin to say to yourself, they're right, they're right about me, maybe my breath does stink, maybe, you know what I'm saying, maybe what's wrong with me? And then you begin to condemn yourself. Self-condemnation then leads to self-punishment. Self-punishment then leads to the universe punishing you, because as within, as without, you begin to magnify the internal dialogue that begins to take place within you. And then without even realizing, you have made the mistake of doing one thing. And that's realizing that the power that they have over you is the power that you have over yourself. And if somebody has a lot of power over you, then you're just externalizing your power into them to give them more power, to have more power over you, but it's really you as well. So then it's this kind of paradox. And this is why inferiority complex is an illusion. This is why it's an illusion. Because the mistake of the matter is this. We begin to make the mistake of attributing causality to externality. When you see everybody as separate to you, you then begin to play the world's game. And the thing about the world, the physical plane, reality, to which we see 0.0035% of, is that it's an illusion, it's a trapped game, it's the world of limitation. In the Kabbalistic traditions, they call it the world of 1%, because we see a fraction of the nature of reality. And because it's limitation, you then end up beginning to limit yourself. Because here's the thing, that was in the negative context. Let's say, you have a call with a potential deal that you want to close. Instantly, what begins to take place is that you now begin to place those individuals above you based upon your perception in terms of what it is that you're getting from them. So, more often than not, the unconscious dialogue that begins to take place is something to the effect of, I need to close this deal so I can get money. And without realizing it, you have separated yourself from that individual. And because you're the individual who is seeking to get something naturally, because humans are moved by self-interest, you begin to position that person above you and you position yourself underneath them. And unfortunately, until you're equal with them, you will never have the capability of materializing it. Because remember, you can't materialize anything that you're underneath. The only things that you can materialize are things that you're equal to, which means you need to have the equivalent state of consciousness, you need to have the equivalent frequency, you need to have the equivalent self-concept, you need to have the equivalent mental attitude, imagination of that particular condition in order to materialize it. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. And the thing is this, like I said, the inferiority complex is based upon allowing the external to affect the internal. And because you're allowing the external to affect the internal, you're allowing what people do to you or say to you to affect you internally, which then places you in a perpetual cycle of recreating that external event back into reality. And this is the fucked up thing. The external does something to you, someone says something to you to make you feel inferior. You then internalize and begin to carry on that particular internal degree of inner dialogue, whether you're repeating what they said to you, you're having conflict with them in your head. Either way, you're perpetuating something that's vibrationally resonant with whatever took place. Then that internal is then mirroring the external, because as within, as without, on earth as it is in heaven. The same thing again and again and again and again and again and again and again. The only reason we feel inferior to others is because we don't see ourselves. And that's a bar right that down. What do you mean by that, Nira? I walk past the mirror all the time. When I say you don't see yourself, I mean you don't see self. Because here's the thing about an inferiority complex. The inferiority complex traps you by lowering your level of awareness to see separation. You see separation between you and the individual before you. And because you see separation between you and the individual before you, you then begin to take on everything outside of you that they have that you don't have. For example, I'll be out with my guys in a club. On the rare chance I go to a club, they're like, yo, that girl's bad. I'm like, go chat to her. And they're like, nah, she's lame. Nah, she's too lame. I can't. She's too nice. She's wearing Van Cleef. She's wearing Van Cleef. Then, based upon that fact of separation, they're not seeing themselves as one with that particular individual. And because you're not seeing yourself as one with that particular individual, then you start playing the world's game. Then the world's game is limitation, because then everything outside of you that they have that you don't have begins to be reflected back to you, as opposed to seeing that individual being exactly like you, internally, beyond the third dimensional realm illusion. And here's the thing, a lot of people feel as if something or somebody's out of their league. But within your universe, nothing is out of your league. And that's what bar that down, unless you make it so. And even then, it only is because you've made it so. And the only reason why somebody has a particular degree of superiority over you is because you're playing the world's game and seeing the external. So you might see a bad chick, but you're not realizing that that's still the same one consciousness. You may be seeing the employee who has the capability of giving you that salary that you want, but you're seeing this powerful puppet master, this puppeteer who has the capability of your life in their hands, as opposed to one consciousness no different from you. As opposed to seeing that potential family member who has the capability of affecting you as one consciousness, the same as you, no matter what is going on externally. Because the moment that you clearly begin to see yourself, then you recognize one thing, and that is this: nothing is superior over God. That's a bar that down. What does that have to do with anything, Nero? That's God. That's not me. The portion of the infinite being within you, the infinite intelligence, the aspect, what the Gnostics called the divine spark, the element of God that is within you. Think about it. If you scooped up water from the ocean, no matter where you take that ocean, somebody would be able to tell you the exact qualities and properties of that water. And you might even be able to pinpoint which particular region it came from. And it's due to the fact that even the fact that you are a droplet from the ocean of God, you still contain the exact same qualities, no matter how small. And if that is a droplet, it's still a droplet of the infinite. And if it's a droplet of the infinite, then why are you making things outside of you superior to you when nothing is superior to God? Everything is one with God. Everything. Every single thing.
You were spitting still.
Thank you. Once you begin to see the oneness of reality, it's as the Buddha said, the individual that sees the Dharma begins to see it everywhere. It's like Christ said, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. Whoever has seen me has seen Dharma, and Dharma has seen them. Krishna said, the one who sees me in everything sees everything in me.
Someone said, as for people selling lightning in Limpopo.
Oh, South Africa. Told you, bro, people saw lightning in South Africa. AJ still don't believe this witchcraft judge shit is real. I'm trying to tell this nigga
Mermaids,
that.
yeah.
Oh, so you believe in mermaids now?
Yeah, mermaids.
So you believe in mermaids now?
Mermaids can run. People flying? No.
No, people fly.
You see.
I've never seen it, but people fly.
Mermaids can run. Anyway, this guy said that's the biggest superstition we've been told in South Africa. They even sell it in a packet, Nero. But all in all, great video, bro. I went from working at McDonald's to working permanently in the international POS device company as a financial accountant, all because of being tapped into your videos. I humbly say thank you, and my understanding of so above as below. Literally, the universe proves me right every time with the thoughts I have, so I appreciate you and AJ big time.
Hi, Intavil. Yabon.
What does that mean?
I'm excited. Thank you.
Nice. So above as below. I thought it was as above, so below.
Give the nigga a break, bro. You're right. It's as above, so below as above.
It just threw me off.
Told you niggas, AJ is not a nice guy. He saw your thing and knew it was wrong, and he just wanted to point it out.
Listen. I'm not the type of nigga that's gonna make you walk around doing something wrong. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yo, I swear there was a comment of a woman who is saying that.
Is this the one?
No, the rain one.
The rain one. Yeah, this is it. I don't know why AJ thinks Nero's joking about this flying thing.
See?
I'm Nigerian, and we have people who can help you hold rains when you have events. And I mean that literally. The rain won't fall on that day. It's so interesting over here, man. Yo, that's funny. You know what? That's a good service to sell.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, you got your wedding. All right, cool. Say less.
No,
I'll do my thing in it. You pay me, I'll hold the weather for you. That's real. She said it's no joke. But you don't believe that.
I don't believe in it, but I believe people.
Let me actually break something down to you esoterically for real. So no, he's rolling his eyes. Check this. So there was a story in the Bible to which Jesus was walking through the town. There was a woman who had a particular blood illness, and she was just like, if I could just touch him, I just know I'll be healed. If I could just touch him, I know I'll be healed. So then he's walking through. Everyone's like, Christ. And then she touches him. She's healed. He turns around and says, who touched me? And she was like, it was me, but I only touched you because I was sick, but now I've been healed. And Christ said, it's your faith that has healed you, not me. And then it goes further to say that Jesus couldn't perform miracles in other lands because they didn't believe. And I think the thing about Africa is that we believe that niggas can fly. So the collective consciousness makes this shit work. Real talk. The egregore is that people can fly. No one's flying in the UK. People can turn to cats. That's a known thing. People bust corners, you see a cat. That's a known thing. But stuff like people flying, I'm telling you.
Hey, man.
I'm telling you.
Fairs.
You still don't believe.
Fairs?
You don't believe.
I get it. The whole story really sold.
I'm sure if you go chat to some proper yard man from Jamaica, I'm sure there's going to be Jamaicans that are really watching this video. They'll be able to tell you shit that's happened.
A yard man ain't going to tell me, man, I'm flying.
I know Jamaicans that have told me they've seen man get turned into a goat.
Yeah. I don't know about that one, but flying.
I've heard stories where people have been
just off the limits. Goats, mermaids, yeah, but maybe.
I've heard stories where people have been turned into potatoes. Number 2. So as well as having a inferiority complex towards people, we also have an inferiority complex towards adversity and circumstances. Now, when I say adversity, I just mean any particular air quotes negative condition of reality, or a circumstance could be something that's upcoming that isn't particularly negative, but it has a way of making you feel anxious or nervous. Bear in mind, I'm going to show you, even though I'm kind of giving you this information, I'm also going to show you how to actually deal with all of this as well practically. Because too much of this spiritual shit that you see niggas talk about just isn't practical. That's why I, made Outsmarting Reality Amazon bestseller for 20 weeks.
Ooh.
Minus Aura.
Bro got the promo.
That was bad. Forget that ad. Cut the commercial. Anyways, like I was saying, we go through these particular moments of adversity or circumstances, which could just be reflective of things that make us anxious or nervous. And the thing about adversity is this. I want you to think about hardships that you're going through. Let's say life is getting you down right now. I want you to remember one thing. If life is beating you in, pause. If life is really getting you down, really down, I mean the strength of reality right now, you're like, yo, is spiritual shit even work? which we've all been there, then one thing that you have to remember is this. Once again, forgive the handwriting. The strength of adversity isn't adversity, it's yours. You see, once you begin to understand that the world that you live in is nothing more than frozen consciousness, frozen imagination, frozen frequency, any particular adversity that you go through that feels as if it's strong or it has a lot of power over you is nothing more than your strength projected into it. But because you say to yourself, this situation is like, nah, this is a hard situation still, like this situation is deep, like this situation is rough. You're not realizing that the strength of the adversity doesn't belong to the adversity, but it belongs to you, sorry. And you're the one who's actually fueling the strength of the adversity by your internal declaration that it is strong. Because here's the truth. There are no truths in the reality that you experience other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. And if your subconscious mind, which bear in mind, the subconscious's primary language is emotion, not repetition, because an individual only has to go through traumatic events once for their entire outlook on life to be completely changed. So the particular degree of emotional intensity on the negative side, we can use as alchemists all the way on the positive side to stimulate an intense degree of emotion to then enter the subconscious mind in the, energetic polarity of trauma, right? So the thing that you have to understand is this. The subconscious mind being primarily programmed by emotion, it is the emotion that you pour into the particular adversity by feeling hopeless and apathetic that actually strengthens it. And when I say strengthens it, that adversity is still you. It's still you. And you're like, damn, nah, this situation is rough. Whole time you're the one that's rough. You're like, damn, nah, this situation is hard. Whole time you're the one that's hard. Pause. And here's what you have to begin to understand about any particular adversity, condition, or circumstance, upcoming circumstance. You have to realize one thing in particular. The power that it seems to have is really yours. And it's actually this light bulb moment, that particular realization, that allows for you in that particular moment in time to be like, damn, I'm powerful. I'm beating myself in right now, but I'm powerful. But the moment that you begin to have the awareness that the fuel that it's using to have that particular degree of strength is really yours, then you allow the capability to redirect that energy. And that's a bar that down. Because once you realize the power has always been yours, and that strength is yours, then you realize that you're the one that is powerful. And when you realize that you're the one that is powerful, then you set yourself in a position to truly and properly alchemize reality.
I've been watching Nero and acquiring knowledge for a month now. And in that time frame, I've been able to manifest my dream home, which I moved into on Tuesday, September the 23rd.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations. You say house party?
Yeah. And guess what? More income.
Thank God.
You know, more income, new place. And
anybody's in there.
This man has helped me open up a whole new world. Oh, she's talking about you. Oh, I thought she was talking about a guy. She manifested a trick or something, but it's you.
Yeah, because you know the girls on his channel are used to manifesting tricks.
Yeah.
And Amanda are used to manifesting baddies. Everybody's priorities are backwards. So it's nice to hear somebody that is manifesting careers. That's great.
Literally. I find myself saying, that's a bar, write that down. Anytime I hear or see something that aligns with my new frequency, I am passing your YouTube channel and book around like it's a hot potato.
Nah. Don't lie to me. I don't believe you niggas. Because I came to find out one thing about you lot. They gatekeep this channel.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's niggas that gatekeep this channel?
I seen you post something about, yo, I can't let my ops find out about this.
Somebody was like, the reason why I don't tell anyone about you is because I don't want my enemies to... I don't want my enemies to have the same level of power that I do. Somebody was like, nah, I built this algorithm brick by brick. I'm not doing that for somebody. I'm like, what? And then check this. So people are like, somebody was like to me, the reason we don't want you to blow up, bro, isn't anything bad. It's simply because if you blow up too big, then you'll sell your soul.
Bruh.
What makes you niggas think I ain't sold it already? What makes you niggas think I ain't sold all your souls watching this right now? On a Klarna. But nah, that's a real concern. Like, people feel as though if people become, mainstream to some degree, then the quality begins to dwindle, which is just nothing more than a limited belief of other people projected onto us, of course. You know what I'm saying?
Bro said, sell your soul.
And you know what's funny about the idea of selling your soul? People look down on other people for selling their souls for wealth while they continue to sell their souls for poverty. And that's a real bar. Write that down.
Yeesh. You didn't have to stick it on them like that. Come on now.
I'm not sticking it on them. I'm sticking it on anybody who has that particular conception. Because I remember, like, when I used to, when I was on the Illuminati videos and rewinding songs and then be like,
playing the songs backwards.
You know what I'm saying? All of that, I'd be like, wow, these people sold their soul. Like, these people sold their soul. And then I would see people, who don't have as much money to the same degree also selling their soul. And then it's this kind of egotistical game where everybody's pointing at each other for having sold their souls. You know what I'm saying? As if that's a transaction that you can make, and somebody comes and collects your soul and they're like, thanks, sign a bit of paper. Yeah, thanks, take that. The other thing that you feel as though you're inferior to, which we all feel inferior to, is our old frequency, the negative aspect of ourselves. Now, just to do a quick rundown on what the old frequency represents, there's 3 planes of existence: mental, physical, spiritual. You exist across all of them. There's a spiritual version of you that is created from something called thought forms. Thought forms in the realm of the esoteric or the occult equate to something called egregores. Egregores in Greeks means watchers. You'll find them in the Book of Enoch, and it's nothing more than entities. An entity is nothing more than a spiritual organism. It doesn't have a physical body, but because it exists on the spiritual plane, it has the capability of affecting the physical plane, because the mental and spiritual plane are the causal realms of reality, and reality is the effect, so they have the capability of spiritually affecting you to then affect your physical plane. Now, the old frequency, the old version of you, is built upon the characteristics of what I believe frequency, consciousness, self-concept is created from. So when I say frequency, I'll talk about what I really mean here. Frequency, state of consciousness. It could also be reflective of your mental attitude. It could also be reflective of your self-concept. It's made up of a couple of attributes, and that is your beliefs, your reactions, your perceptions, your expectations, your focus or attention, your emotionally charged thoughts, and finally, your conviction. I believe that is all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, that is all of them. And this is what your frequency, state of consciousness, self-concept is made of. Your beliefs, your reactions, perceptions, expectations, focus, emotionally charged thoughts, and conviction. Your old frequency is your old beliefs, the old ways you used to react, the old way you used to look at things, the old things you used to expect or normalize, the old placement of your attention or focus, your old emotionally charged thoughts, and your old conviction. Now, here's the thing. As you begin to move towards your desired reality, you naturally begin to experience a particular degree of resistance. Sir Isaac Newton, who was an occultist, once said, for every force, there's an equal and opposite force. The moment that you begin to take a step forward, you indirectly begin to experience some particular type of resistance. Now, on the spiritual plane, as you begin progressing forward from one reality to another, that is a new frequency. And because the new reality is representative of the new frequency, you then begin to sever the connection with the entity of the old frequency. And because you begin to sever that connection, the old frequency then begins to play its games. It has a particular psychology, it has a way that it thinks, it is sadistic, it is angry, it is needy, it is fearful. And it begins to project all of those things onto you as you begin to move forward. So you begin to feel fear as you begin to transform, and begins to make things go wrong as a way of getting you to revert and regress back into your old particular paradigm, so it continues to get that energy. Now, we feel inferior to the negative aspect of ourselves because sometimes when shit happens, it's just like your mind goes back to that place that it once was, and you hate it going there, and it goes back there, and we're just like, fuck. I literally feel burdened by the old way that I used to think, and it's so easy for me to dwindle and descend into that particular degree of negativity that I've been working so hard to go away from. And here's the thing, unlike the others, right, you have to begin to understand that your old frequency has its game. It wants you to be frustrated of the fact that you're thinking the things that you're thinking. The moment you begin to think negative, and then you're upset that you're thinking negative because you have the awareness of what negative thinking leads to, it's like, gotcha. The moment that you begin to become annoyed at the fact that you let your mind go to this place, it's like, yes, got it again. The more frustrated, irritated, and annoyed that you begin to be is actually what allows you to be inferior to it, because that's its game. When it kicks its old ways into motion, its old particular thinking, and those thoughts come into your head, you associate those thoughts as yours. And because you associate those thoughts as yours, you then internalize them as yours. And because you internalize them as yours, you then begin to make yourself feel terrible for experiencing these things without realizing that these things are projected onto you by your old frequency. But the moment that you can isolate it and say that this is the old frequency, then the way that you begin to navigate it is entirely different, because now you're like, it's not me thinking that. I know what you're doing. And that's what you have to come to a recognition of. You have to come to the awareness of the thoughts that you're experiencing not being representative of yours, because it's that internalization of those thoughts that makes them become part of you. They become part of you, they become part of your reality. But you need to have the capability of catching it out and not playing its game, not becoming frustrated or irritated, and actually saying, I know what you're doing. And then you begin to break what it expects, because it has a knowledge on you more powerful simply because it is a representation of you that exists on the spiritual plane. Adrian, one day we're going to go to South Africa together. I'll take you. And then we're going to go to these lot selling lightning.
And you're going to buy some?
Why not?
Question is, like, does it come with terms and conditions? Can I only use it in South Africa, or can I bring it back to the UK?
Probably. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it will work in the UK.
Has it got like an expiry date?
Listen, I don't know.
These are important questions, bro.
They are important questions. You're asking all the right questions, to be honest.
How do I activate it, you know?
You just point at someone and click.
I think I'm in love.
Used brown. Pardon?
I think I'm in love. Thank you, Nero.
Oh.
Take your flowers, king. I'm a guy, by the way. No, I'm joking. It didn't say that.
Thank you very much. And you don't love me. You don't know me. I really could be the worst nigga that you know. You actually don't know me. You don't know AJ. You know what I'm saying? In real life, we could be on a mad thing. You know what I'm saying? You can meet me in real life and I could spit on you or some shit like, you don't know niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I only say that to avoid the particular degree of pedestalization, which I don't want. I appreciate you. So many pens in my pocket. We'll take red. I used yellow before and they didn't like it, right?
They hated yellow. I think the whole comment section came together and just fought against yellow.
Yeah. One thing that you have to begin to understand is that the moment that you see something as bigger than you, then you make it bigger than you. And the reason I say that is because this. The way that you look at life is the way life looks at you, because you and life are the same thing. So you're really looking at yourself. Even when I walk around in my world, I'm looking at nothing more than myself. But remember, the inferiority complex puts that particular degree of separation. Separation is an illusion due to the fact that separation stems from the law of polarity. The Hermetic law of polarity states that, energetic polarities exist within this third dimensional realm: hot, cold, masculine, feminine, good, bad, light, dark, so on and so forth. But these constraints only are confined within our third dimensional realm, and outside of our third dimensional realm, they don't exist. Now, the way that you look at life is the way life looks at you. The way you look at reality is the way reality looks at you. The way you look at the world is the way the world looks at you. And it's all because of this. Your perception is directly interconnected to your projection. The way that you look at something is how you project that something. And then when you see that projection, you then get caught up in a loop. A lot of people don't realize that the way that they see things is the way those things see them. And then they get caught up in that loop again and again and again and again and again without even realizing that your perception is directly equated to your projection. It's what I call the perception projection loop. And extrapolate this now to the context to which you see something, an employer or somebody as, or a client or a particular person that you might want to date, or you see that person as bigger than you. So then how are they going to look back at you? As if you're smaller than them. This goes back to Numbers 13:33. I'll get AJ to put it up on the screen. There were giants. We saw giants and we were in our own sight grasshoppers. And so in their sight, we were. The way that you look at things is the way those things then look back at you. If you see somebody as out of your league, then unconsciously, due to the fact that frequency speaks before you've even spoken, that person for some reason will be like, nah. That employer will then look at your resume, even if you're more than overqualified, and then begin to then be like, nah, something's off about this person. Unconsciously, you don't even know why. And it's because your frequency speaks before you've even spoken, and you've spoken that they're superior to you without realizing they're one with you. But you don't see that they're one with you because you're still confined to the inferiority complex, which then puts you in a place of seeing things separated. It's real. It's really real. It's really real. You see a certain amount of money as bigger than you. So guess how that money looks at you? Nah, you can't make me. You can't make me. And that's how the money thinks. It's an entity as well. Each particular financial level is nothing more representative than a collective thought form. That collective thought form is an egregore, which then is its own separate entity. That entity has a particular psychology, which is reflected based upon your perception towards it. And if you perceive something as a lot, then it perceives you as a little. And because it perceives you as a little, you don't have the capability of being one with it, because you experience the reality that you're one with. And you have to come to the realization of the perception projection loop. So on the things that you wish to materialize, how do you look at those things? Do you see those things as big things? Do you see those things as crazy things? You ever see those billionaires talk about how much money their company makes, and they're like, yeah, so this year we're gonna be netting not much, probably like 5 billion. 5 fucking billion. Which to me, that's like, and because to me it's like that, then that's how it sees me. And because I see it as a lot, it sees me as a little. Extrapolate that to any particular person. You see that person on a night out, you might see a person that you want to date. And you're like, wow, this person's this and they're so this and oof, wow, and they have. And this can actually be even weaponized you to a degree that you're unaware of. Let's say there's an instance where you are more than qualified to work with a client, to close that deal, to get employed by that particular job, to get that promotion. You're more than qualified. Frequency defies rationality, even in the degree of negativity. And that's what borrow that down. What do I mean? Let's say you're more than qualified, logically, consciously, but subconsciously you see yourself as inferior. Despite everything that you have up until this moment, you'll continue to make yourself inferior. And because you make yourself inferior, you see yourself as inferior, those things then look at you to the same degree of inferiority, even if you're more than capable of attaining. So what choice do you have? What choice do you have? You got no choice. You have to begin to look at the things that you wish to materialize as if it is a little, and see yourself as greater. Because remember, what is greater than God?
Nobody.
You bring Keith Sweat into... That's crazy. I wanna tease you. I wanna please you. I wanna show you, baby, that I need you. Nah, he was different, Star.
For real.
He was different.
Someone commented this on how to be so calm in every situation it makes reality nervous.
Cool.
Sick title. Good job, bro.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
wanted to add this comment as I was always a little bit skeptical about this sort of stuff, but I decided
Skeptical about
manifestation, I guess, reality creation.
Mm.
But I decided that I was going to work. I decided I was going to work on living my life with the lessons Nero teaches and completely change myself after going through a tough year. Damn. I switched my mindset to essentially not let the good or bad external events change me on the inside. It's so minor, but I left my headphones at the gym, and usually I would have been so frustrated. I just said, meh.
Yeah, especially in the wrong ends. In the wrong ends.
It's gone.
Headphones are gone.
Literally.
You'll see a nigga wearing your headphones. Doing bench press.
Said meh, and moved on with my day and let the thoughts leave my mind. Came home today with a letter for a tax refund on my old car as I bought a new car. It was the exact amount I paid for the headphones I left at the gym. I laughed so hard when I opened the letter, and there was the universe reaffirming how I need to go about my life. Thank you, Nero.
Real talk.
That's real.
Real talk.
And headphones, they're probably like 100, 200, some are 500 pounds.
Yeah, some of them are 500.
Leave that in pure gym, yeah.
Kiss that one goodbye, mate. Kiss that one goodbye. You got me twisted over you. I know you. So what you wanna do? Baby, I know. And baby, I love you so. But I gotta be strong.
But I gotta be strong.
Did me good, you did me wrong.
I thought we were really. But now you say you want me, girl.
Ooh, make up your mind.
'Cause I'm not gonna be here for long.
I'm not gonna be here for long.
You know.
I
won't show loving, baby.
Calm down, guys. Calm down, guys. Sometimes niggas will comment like, oh, these man made too many jokes. Go watch some serious niggas. It's all right. It's all right. Relax. You're going to get some. Listen. Zip up your pants. It's all right. Just relax. Information. So, always remember this. The problem is rarely the problem. The problem is rarely the problem. The problem is nearly always perception. And you have to remember this with any particular condition of circumstance or reality that you're going through. The problem that you're facing is rarely the problem. The problem is always necessarily your perception, because it is your perception that equates to your projection. Remember, in the land, there were giants. And because we saw ourselves as grasshoppers, they then saw us as grasshoppers to the same degree. You have to remember, the problem is rarely the problem. The problem is nearly... That dog.
That dog's going crazy.
Goodness gracious me. The problem is rarely the problem. The problem is nearly always your perception. It's not necessarily what you go through. So it's not necessarily, the act itself. It's the internal perception of the act, because it's that internal degree that emits a frequency that alters how you experience it. Your projection is always a reflection of your perception, and your perception always will be reflected in your projection. If you perceive something like, oh, it's going to be hard, man. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make this amount of money? How am I going to get into a health relationship? How am I going to get the job? How am I going to do this? How's it going to... Oh, it's just so difficult. You then, based upon your perception, have made an even worse problem. Because the problem isn't the problem. The problem is your perception towards the problem. So how are you perceiving the adversity that you're going through? How are you perceiving that person who is showing you a level of adversity? How are you even perceiving your old frequency? Are you perceiving it as this big bad wolf who has the capability of just fucking up your day? How are you perceiving that person? Are you perceiving them, oh yeah, fucking Steve, man. Oh, he's just... Every time he just drains my energy, pause. It's really like that. And you have to really begin to take into consideration how you're perceiving things. Remember, the problem is rarely the problem. The problem is rarely the problem. Say it with me. The problem is rarely the problem. The problem is nearly always your perception. Remember that. Let me use purple. Cool. Now, like I said, I will show. Now I'm going to show you how to actually deal with this. Now, you have to understand one thing. Whether this is a person that you feel inferior towards, whether this is a particular degree of adversity or an upcoming circumstance, or a goal in of itself, or a desired reality that you seek to materialize, you have to remember, you can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. And for each of these things, there's a particular desired reality that you wish to experience. With that person that's showing you a particular degree of inferiority, there's a way that you wish to see them. With that degree of adversity, there's a way you wish to see it solved. With that adversity, there's a way that you wish to see unfold. And you have to take one thing into consideration. It's that the first thing that you need to do is stop seeing it as a problem and see it as something that's already solved. And the reason I say that is because you can only have what you already have. The moment that you begin to enter the state of consciousness or the frequency of that thing already being sold, then you're going to intuitively be nudged in a direction that leads to the solving of that thing. And you have to understand one thing. The way that you can really do this, and I alluded to this earlier in the video, is by emotional intensity. Emotional intensity doesn't necessarily mean that you're smiling like a crackhead and you're feeling like you're going to explode. Pause. It doesn't mean anything like that. It simply means in reflection of however you experience emotional intensity. So for me, when I attain the things that I want, I'm never really gassed. I'm more just like in a state of like confidence and serenity, serene confidence. That's me. For you, it's going to be different, and let it be for you, right? There isn't one size fits all. And the only way that you can do that is through a process of visualization or whatever technique that you want, because visualization is just what I teach to my clients. By the way, if you're a professional athlete or a 7 to 8 figure entrepreneur who feels as though there is potential that you can feel but you haven't seen unleashed and materialized, and you wish to get those results in the next couple of weeks, then link in the description. But the way that I teach my clients visualization is simple. Get into a meditative, relaxed state, which just means relax. Relax, whether that takes you 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Then when you do, visualize someone that you care about, acknowledging or commenting or congratulating you upon materializing what it is that you want in a very short scene, in a way that's very them-like. Incorporate a particular degree of touch, so them hugging you and congratulating you, and then loop that scene again and again until you begin to feel like you're being strained. So extrapolate that to whatever person is giving you problems. See yourself as having harmony with that problem. See yourself as having harmony with that person. See that adversity unfolded in a way that you want. And I did this when, there was once a time that the tax man was on to me and it was looking long. But I quite literally, AJ literally remembers me then. But through my own process of alchemy in showing you what I'm doing, showing you what I'm talking about here, I then ended up solving that, and that situation unfolded perfectly. And now me and the taxman were the best of friends. Now, like I said, the visualization, loop it again and again and again until you begin to feel as though you're straining yourself. At the moment you feel as though you're straining yourself, then you get up and go throughout your day. Throughout your day, take one sentence that indicates you're in that reality, something you think upon materializing that reality. For example, someone is giving you problems, say, I love the way that me and Steve get on. And then saturate your state of consciousness with that. And listen, nigga, if you're a dude called Steve and you're watching this, I have no problems with you. It's literally just the thought that came to my mind. And with the upcoming circumstance, let's say it's a test or something, be like, I know I was going to pass that test. I know I was going to get into that university. I know I was going to get that job. And saturate your mind with that every second of every day. And remember one thing, whether it's any particular degree of inferiority to others, inferiority to adversity, or the old frequency, you are one with all of them. And also remember, you're powerful enough to make yourself feel powerless. I feel something so wrong, but doing the right thing. Take that money and watch it burn. See you in the river, lessons I learned. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. The moment that you begin to feel small in reality within, that's what, fuck me in the ass. No, pause.